What's up, gingos? Today I want to talk about the idea of money as a tool. And I feel like everybody knows this, but it's very, very hard to adapt to that mindset, especially given like the way you grew up to your nature and nurture. Like me personally, I always understood how money was seen as a tool, but I'm still, even to this day, still adjusting to the idea that it's like money needs to be spent, money needs to be flowing, money needs to be the idea of money shouldn't be like, oh, let me save as much as I can and like accumulate a big bunch, because although you can have a big bunch to like buy something big, a big goal or whatever, it doesn't make any sense in most case scenarios, right? It's like, for me, say I want to buy a house, right? Me saving every little bit of money, it would take me years to buy a house, and a house is a liability at the end of the day, right? If I wanted to make more and more money, I wouldn't buy a house. I would be putting into the markets. I would put it into a business. I would have it invested in some sort, right? And investing it consistently over a monthly basis rather than saving every little dollar that I can just to get that big lump sum, or like that big lump fund per se, wouldn't make sense. And so like once you start thinking about how money is a tool, you want like a very like an analogy I can give you, right, is if you had a hammer and it was just in your toolbox, the hammer's not being useful. The hammer's useless, right? It's just like, it's just there. You just have the hammer, who cares, right? But if you actually had a hammer and you used it every day, you use it to like build something, you use it to create something, you use it to fix something, that's the hammer being used. It's in flow, or whatever you want to call it, right? And that's how you need to view money, because essentially, right, if you have a hammer, the hammer doesn't mean anything. It has no intrinsic value, right? Which means it's like there's nothing that you can actually get with the hammer, right? It's just a hammer. Same thing with money. Money is just paper. It's printed. It's everywhere, right? And so you can't really you can exchange stuff for money, right? That's why it's a medium of exchange. But the whole idea is money has no intrinsic value. So when you attach yourself to it, it makes no sense, because you're essentially attaching yourself to a piece of paper. And once you get into the mindset that money is a tool, you're able to better equip yourself to invest it and therefore make a lot more. So like, and it's not even just to make a lot more, it's just you can use it as a tool in so many different circumstances. Like I remember when I was in high school, our teacher, he used to work at the airport, and he used to tell us that like when you work at the airport, being timely is very, very important, this and that. And so when he would go late, he would simply go to Dunkin' and buy a dozen donuts. And so when he would go into work, he would be like, hey guys, I brought donuts, this and that, right? And everybody, instead of being mad at him for not being there on time, just because like their teamwork is everything, right? They gotta like fix the planes and this and that, so like they need everyone there on time. So when you're not there on time, everybody has to wait, and it's like annoying for them, right? But because you brought donuts, brought them a food, a little treat, now nobody's mad at you. And it's like, when he told me that, I was like, like I don't know why people would be that mad, but it's like once you actually get into like the real world, you'll see how often people get triggered, how fast people get annoyed and stuff like that. And so like, what it would have cost you like $10 to buy 12 donuts, and now you just save face per se. Like even if it was just for that day, going forward they might expect donuts from you again, or you have another reason or like a way to get out of being late, or you have like if something came up and you got in trouble, and they start talking to your other coworkers, they're, if you were late, they would have a negative perception of you. So they'd be like, you know what, I don't mind ratting on him, but because you bought them donuts, they'll see you in a positive light, and they'll just like nah, he didn't do it, this and that. Like, they won't rat you out. And it's just like, that's like multiple scenarios that's coming from that one little thing of you using $10 to save face and everything. And it's like, another example would be like the hammer analogy, but also like if you have money, right, and you have, let's say you have $1,000 sitting in your account, that money is useless. Yes, maybe you feel cool, maybe you look cool. If your credit card, like what I would say is like, have a minimum amount that you want, that you're comfortable with, right? And like don't make it like extraneous, right? Like if you can separate a good lump, 6 months worth of a cost. Like so if you spend $500 a month, right? Let's just say you spend $1,000 a month, right? Have $6,000 put away in some sort of HISA, in some sort of emergency fund, right? And in your check-ins account, have like a minimum amount that you typically spend, like I would say double or triple your typical credit card monthly expenses, right? So if you typically spend $500 a month on your credit card, have 1,000 or 1,500 in your checking account, and then you don't really need any more. The idea of having a ton of liquid makes no sense unless you are like constantly buying big like entities or whatever with cash, right? You're not, unless you're some big, like, big business broke, you're not really using that liquid, right? So it's better yet, if you're still working a job, if you still have consistent income, have that money, all the excess beyond your emergency fund, beyond your check-ins account, into the market, right? Learn how to invest in the stock market, learn how to invest in the crypto market if you're a little bit riskier, learn how to invest in businesses, learn how to, like, just learn how to invest. Investing is simply just buying into something that will give you a better return, right? Rather than if you put $500 in, you most likely will get $500 worth of value more. So like, if that's in stock, it'll grow a little bit. If it's crypto, it might double. You might lose. And now, of course, even with every investment, there's a chance to lose your money. But if you wait long enough, typically your investments do pay out, especially if it was a good research investment. Don't just invest in anything that your friend says and your uncle says this and that. Actually find something that makes sense. A really good rule of thumb for, like, I think the best place to start is the stock market, because it's so easy now, is what companies do you see what companies that you use, and what companies do you see in the future, right? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what companies do you think will still be around? I still personally believe Apple will still be around, American Express will be around, Exxon, like the gas company, will still be around, right? Even though we're going electric and all this and that, right? People are still gonna have gas vehicles. People are always gonna use iPhones, and people are always gonna have credit cards and need to use credit cards. And American Express is a big name. You could look into the idea of blue chip stocks. Those are like typically the bigger stocks like American Express, Apple, and this and that, right? And if you just invest in those and you wait a long enough period of time, I'm talking 5, 10, 15 years, you will make money. So it's a good investment. And you're like, why would I buy this and that for, well, like, if say you just made like $10 a year, $20 a year, whatever, why would I wait 10, 20, why would I park a bunch of money into the stock market just to make $10, $20 a year or whatever? It's like, if you left it in your bank account, it would have done nothing. And if you left it in your bank account, more likely you would have spent it. Third, you would have no knowledge or principle investing in the stock market. Fourth, you would be fighting against inflation, so your money would actually be going down rather than going up. And there's always the opportunity that the money will just keep going up, and you can collect compound interest. And if you keep investing, then your returns get bigger and bigger. So it's just get into the mindset. If you want to become someone who's financially free, financially abundant, tying yourself to every dollar just doesn't work. So you need to get into the idea of, I can create a lot of money, I can make a lot of money. Money is everywhere, money is always flowing. Money is a tool that I have to use to make more money. I can't just, like, even the idea of like what CEOs do of big businesses, what do? They use their money that the company makes and they pay a bunch of people, pay a bunch of employees to help the company keep continuously be maintained and grow. They can't do all that work by themselves. What do? They can either take all the money the company's making and take it for themselves, or they can pay a bunch of people and they can take a little bit, typically more than each employee, but they take a little bit, they pay everybody, and the whole company grows. Now you have a bigger valuation of your company, you have better business credit, your company just looks bigger on paper, so you're able to get bigger loans, you make more money. Eventually, like, if you keep growing and growing, then you take more and more funds out. I'm not gonna explain what the CEOs do, but that's exactly CEOs understand the idea that money is a tool, money is used to make more money. So you need to get into this mindset. I'm still adjusting, it takes time. Depends on like nature, nurture, so many different factors, but financial freedom is all of our goals. Financial abundance is all of our goals. Understanding money as a tool is a key concept. If you think like this, in the end, you'll win.